Second one in here. Okay, we are good to go. Welcome to the Huddle Up podcast. Tonight it is me, John K. or Jonathan Kronenberg, filling in for Chad and Jensen. Joining me is Zack Kelberman. How you doing today, Zack?
I'm doing pretty well. Happy, Christmas, Merry Christmas Eve to you, John, and to everyone else. We hope that you guys are having a very happy and merry holiday and enjoying your family and your friends and these fun times in what's been a very uncertain and very bleak year. But I'm doing pretty well. It's our mailbag, John. It's our favorite episode. No matter if it's me and you, me and Chad, by myself, whatever. I'm always excited to get to the mailbag, talk more Broncos football. How about you, though?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Like you said, kind of just excited for the holidays, getting going, being able to spend some time with my family and also with you guys, because I do consider you guys my extended family. So it will be great to get to the mailbag tonight, hear what you guys have on your mind going into the Chargers game, essentially, which, we only have 2 games left. It feels like we just started, honestly, in my opinion, but we're almost done.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? It's crazy that the year to me goes slow from like January to August, but from August to December, it just flies by. And every single football season, it's like week 1, week 2, and then I blink, and then it's week 16. It's amazing. We love this game so much, and it goes so fast, but, it's a good problem to have, I guess. I want to just point out one thing, guys. This is a kind of unusual pod for us. Chad he has a family obligation. We weren't going to do this at first, but we want to come on here, and we're going to go pretty much as long as you guys will stay with us tonight. It might not be the full hour. It might not be the full bore Thursday night podcast, but as long as you guys are tuning in with us, we'll keep it going. So let's break some Broncos topics down, John.
Yeah, definitely. And, even the Broncos took Christmas off. Fangio said it himself. The Broncos didn't get a bye week, so the Broncos get Christmas off. So we understand if you're busy going on right now. A lot is going on, definitely.
For sure. And it's fun. At least they didn't get screwed by the NFL out of Christmas,
Hey, you never know what can happen. There's been new rules put in place for that, but you never know what can happen. But to get things started off, I wanted to talk to you about Philip Lindsay and how he's doing health-wise. It sounds like, he doesn't sound like he's going to be able to go this week, honestly, from what I've heard. What do you think about shutting him down for this year, possibly? Or do you want to keep him going to see what we have before, going into that RFA tender phase?
It's a weird kind of situation for Lindsay to be in, or at least the Broncos to make on him. I'm not going to push him out there if he's injured. I'm not going to make him run on a bad knee or make him, play in pain. If he can't play, he's one of the toughest guys, John. If he can't go, that means he really is hurting. I would give him this week off and then see where he's at next week. But knowing Philip, though, he lives, eats, sleeps, and drinks football, breathes football. He loves the game. He loves to play. He wants to be out there. So for my money, if he misses this week, which would suck, leaving Melvin Gordon and Royce Freeman against the Chargers and that offense with Justin Herbert, I would expect him to play against the Raiders in Week 17. I don't think he'll be shut down for 2 games unless that knee, there's just ligament damage or it's worse than we've been let on the last couple weeks.
Well, I was told also now it's a hip as well. He's having some hip issues, not quite precise on what's going on with his hip, but that's a big issue. You don't want that festering over into next year. And at this point, I think he's proven his worth. But again, I would love to see him play one more week. Again, with Freeman also having hip issues last week, if you didn't notice, he was pulled out of the game. So that was definitely something to consider. Is it time to bring up someone like Cox again or Bellamy? I don't even know how they're doing health-wise, especially Bellamy with his injury.
You're right. That's a good point about Royce Freeman being hurt as well. But, I have to wonder, John, would Lindsay be going through these maladies right now if he wasn't being treated like an inside the tackles runner, if he wasn't just slammed up the middle into the opposing defenses, if he was used more to his skill set along the outside and not having to take that wear and tear of those poundings as an inside runner? I hate to put it on Pat Shurmur, but I just wonder if he was used correctly, and to his ceiling, if he was still hurt at this point.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. And I think, we'll keep seeing how he does health-wise. This was the first year I felt like he had any breakdowns in terms of injuries even, where I was concerned. So I'm not going into next year thinking, oh my gosh, we have to be worried about what he's going to be. Is he fragile like Locke? I don't think he's fragile like what people say to Locke. Oh, Locke's so fragile. Well, technically Lindsay's missed more, but they're about the same. They're both tough guys that want to be in the game and play well.
fragile guys don't play a day after getting clear from a concussion. Fragile guys don't play on a bum knee. Fragile guys don't play on turf toe. So Phillip is tough, but he's also human. It's the nicks and the bruises and the wear and tear of a season. If he's being slammed up the middle into the teeth of a defense, it's going to happen. It sucks for him, though. Like you mentioned, he is going to be an RFA in the offseason. I'm sure he wants a long-term contract. And regardless, though, if he was healthy, I don't think the Broncos would have gave it to him, even though he deserves it. But now, if he misses this week or misses next week and he kind of limps to a finish, literally and figuratively, I don't see Elway ponying up and sinking any additional money into him when he's going to be under contract under the tender for what? $3 million for 2021.
Yeah. So you wouldn't see them possibly doing what they did with Chris Harris Jr. at all if he doesn't play. That would be thrown out the window. If he does play, would you think that's still open for conversation?
The only reason they did that for Chris Harris Jr. because he kept making us think about it. And I don't see Lindsey opening his mouth and calling out Elway or calling out the Broncos. I mean, I understand closed mouths don't get fed, but they were placating Chris Harris Jr., John. They wanted him to just shut up and go away and just play football and stop worrying about money. Lindsey's not about money, even though he deserves to have financial security and he deserves to be making more than, $500,000 this year, something like that, $700,000. He deserves that, but it's also a business, and he knows that. He knows he's at the Broncos' mercy. As an RFA, he doesn't have the leverage. He cannot sign the tender, but they're going to probably place that tender on him, and either he has to sit out or, accept the money that's being offered.
No matter what, it's still going to be always hard to say Mark Barron made more than this Broncos player on the roster. The whole inside linebackers, both Johnson and Jewell. It's hard to say that for the same thing for Phillip Lindsay. It is just a little hard to say that, even though he's gone. He's out of mind. There's still that little bit of thought process going on in my head where I'm thinking, man, that money could have gone to good use for Lindsay, and it just made him feel a little bit better going into this season as well.
Absolutely. And this is why we've been saying, I obviously you don't pay running backs in this day and age, but it's a goodwill gesture to take care of a homegrown talent that's done everything for you, been a twice 1,000-yard rusher, a former Pro Bowler. He's the energy and the spark plug of that huddle. Why not reward him? Why not throw him a bone instead of throwing an outside player a bone like Melvin Gordon? But c'est la vie. That's just John Elway's mindset right now.
Yeah, and I think we've got a great topic going here with Phillip Lindsay, but why don't we get into matters business a little bit here first? First, let's get to our great supporters at sportsbetting.com.
Yes, guys, as you well know, watching us 4 nights a week, and actually every night, tonight's live stream podcast is brought to you by sportsbetting.com. Broncos country, gambling is now legal in the state of Colorado, and here's what makes sportsbetting.com a no-brainer destination for sports fans just like yourself. First of all, sharp odds and low juice. They have in-house bookmakers. They're not a third-party service. Reduced juice and the best prices you will find out there of any sports betting site at sportsbetting.com. Also, hassle-free bonuses with a one-time rollover, which means the bonus money is yours after you bet it just one time, whereas other sites and competitors make you bet it 5 to 30 times to get that bonus rollover back. So big difference there. Also, 24/7 live customer support. That means when you contact sportsbetting.com, you are always getting a real person in the U.S., never a robot, never someone overseas, always here in the good old U.S. of A. But here's the kicker. Right now, guys, after you make your first deposit, sportsbetting.com will match up to $500. That's $500 in free bet credits. Plus, right now, with the NBA season set to tip off, it's actually underway right now, you also get $25 in free bet credits. So head on over to sportsbetting.com/milehighhuddle. That's sportsbetting.com/milehighhuddle and capitalize on up to $500 in free bet credits and start 2021 off on the right foot.
Perfect. And I've done a little bit with sportsbetting.com in a little bit of a different way. Well, first I did the $1,000 free bet. Didn't do so well there. Lost my 1,000, but doesn't matter. It didn't really count as losing 1,000. However, I did win one of their side things that you can do on Monday, no matter where you live in the United States. You predict the score of Monday Night Football. Closest person gets the $250 Amazon gift card. I did win one of those. So I do have to admit, if you're not in Colorado, there's still ways to participate in different states as well. So check out sportsbetting.com whenever you get the opportunity, on Twitter as well.
/Mile High Huddle. Thanks, guys.
Yes. And again, tonight's podcast is the Huddle Up Podcast. Give us a follow at Huddle Up Pod on Twitter. It's a great way to follow what's going on, get your news up to date. Follow guys like Chad, Zack, Kelberman here. You're going to get everything you need to know about the show of the day of the show. Also follow the Mothership account on Twitter at Mile High Huddle. Again, that's on Twitter. And finally, you can also to get your I say merch. I don't have the ability to pull it off like Chad does.
Swag.
To say swag. But go to huddleuppod.com. Get your merchandise on.
Show them, John.
I got my Let 'Em Hate shirt going right now.
Rock it proudly. Look at that.
Because you know what? No matter what anyone says about the Broncos, they're just hating. They don't understand the process. They're too caught up in their team or whatever their business is. They're not thinking really about the Broncos fully.
Screw them. Let them hate.
Yes, let them hate. Exactly. As you said and you created. But we also would appreciate it if you would head over to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. Become a supporter. That way you can get new content starting in the January 2021. We're going to have a lot of new content for our subscribers there. Become a supporter. And it's just a great way to support us. If you can't do anything like that, you can't buy some merch, anything like that, we completely understand. It's hard times out there right now with everything going on with CV and just in life in general. Jobs are difficult. Life is difficult. We'd appreciate it if you gave us a subscribe, like the video and share it out there. That really helps us in an organic way and helps us grow. And we're getting closer to, new goals. And we really do appreciate you taking that time and reaching out to other individuals. So thank you so much for doing that as well.
So Lucas, thank you.
Perfect. Do you mind if we get to one super chat real quick?
I do not mind. Go for it.
Let's get to it. We got Victor Palmgreen. I'm not great with names. Paul Green. First time catching you guys live. Huge fan of the Broncos and this podcast. What position do you think is the most important to upgrade on both offense and defense? I flipped that there. Dyslexic. It's okay.
Upgrade on defense to me. I was going to say Chad. That won't be the first time I almost make that mistake, John. It's got to be, to me, inside linebacker of the starting positions. Obviously, you need a cornerback. I think Boye is going to be gone. You can use some depth at safety. You can use some defensive line depth. But to me, Josie Jewell is not a long-term starter at IOB. And AJ is an above average to slightly above average linebacker. To get someone in there like Micah Parsons, John, as a dynamic 3-down inside linebacker in between Bradley Chubb and Von Miller, to me, that's the biggest area they can upgrade this offseason. Don't know if they'll do it with Vic Fangio, but that's my answer for defense. What do you say for offense?
In terms of offense, I think things are pretty set right now. In terms of getting an addition, I'm thinking you need a backup quarterback, honestly, that can groom Locke a little bit better, or someone to push him a little bit. But also, it depends on what happens with Melvin Gordon going in the future. Are they going to make sure, to keep him next year? Could be a time for another running back in the later rounds, maybe undrafted free agent. We're not talking anything expensive here. I don't think the offense really needs to go overkill this year in terms of draft or free agents. Just got to fill those small holes where we have players, get those good deals. That's how I feel, at least offensively.
I would say right tackle.
Of course.
I mean, that to me, they have every other position set, John. I mean, even Glasgow, if he comes back next year, which he probably will, you have Moody as his backup, Cushenberry at center, you have Reisner at left guard, now you have Garrett Bowles at left tackle. But who do you have at right tackle? You have Juwan James, who's, as we know, unreliable to the max. You have, Zamar Dotson's not going to be there. Elijah Wilkinson might not be there. So you really need someone, even if Juwan James does play, which is a quote right now, it's all hypothetical. You need some depth and insurance, or else you're going to scramble like you did this year. So I would say right tackle on offense. It's the only position, and it's a good problem to have in a sense, that really needs dire attention.
Yeah, I think I can go to a developmental player. As much as I love Calvin Anderson and what he can bring, he has troubles going over to the right side. And that was evident when he did have to play and fill in for right tackle. He is great at left tackle, but it's hard switching that footwork up. It really is. It's just a huge switch. So I don't know if he can make that switch so easily, whereas Wilkinson, you kind of have a little bit of maneuverability, even though he's not been the best, given his record. Although these last 2 weeks, I haven't been too, against Wilkinson playing. He's been doing some good things along the way, some. But yeah, that's where I go for right tackle, thinking developmental player. I do like Juwan James in terms of his footwork. If he can get on the field, if he can stay on the field, I don't know what it does in terms of odd and even years for him as well. But that's my thought when it comes to Juwan James at this time.
We thought the odd and even year thing was legit. Look what happened this year. And I know it's 2020 is its own thing. It's its own rules and definition. But man, I mean, he played a handful of snaps last year, then opts out this year. You're being paid, $52 million. Come on, man. Just nut up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you there. And if I were to go on the defensive side, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't think Kareem Jackson is going to be around next year. So I need a safety.
Spicy, John.
It's not spicy. He's going to cost a lot of money. And, even though he brings a lot of different things in terms of the locker room and gets the guys pumped up and everything along those lines, I just do not see him being worth that. I think 11 million plus, I believe, no matter what. Yeah. And I think it's dead. You get zero dead money if we get rid of him. So it's a big way to get rid of some money, especially with the cap issues and the issues with money in general the Broncos are experiencing.
We're in the minority for sure because a lot of Broncos country loves Kareem Jackson. And I understand he's good in run support, but he really is a liability in coverage. And he's getting up there in age. He's expensive. They have to invest in Justin Simmons at safety. And I'm almost with you on that. The combination of releasing Boye, Kareem Jackson, and Jarrell Casey would clear the Broncos like $36 million in pure salary cap space. Yeah. No or negligible dead money. That's a lot. 36 mil, John. You can sign 2 players and add another free agent. You can take care of Simmons, take care of Shelby Harris, take care of everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm right there with you if Kareem Jackson is a casualty on defense this offseason.
I've never had a chance to ask you, how furious would you be if Harris does not get paid?
Shelby
Harris. I don't think anyone's asked that to you. And you're so involved with it. You're the pay Harris guy. Tell me what would happen if he doesn't get paid and it was a reasonable price tag for you.
I kind of expect it now because the Broncos showed their hand last offseason. They didn't pay him, and they made him sign a prove-it deal. They didn't pay Derek Wolfe either, but maybe it's different this time around. Listen, I just think he's a great defensive lineman you can build on, and he was a no-name, John. He came from the Raiders. He was a former 7th-round pick. He developed into arguably the best pass deflector in the NFL. He can get after the quarterback, a great teammate, and he's evolving this season into a leader on defense. Not just a guy, but a leader. In terms of a price tag, would I reset the market for Shelby Harris? No. He's not Aaron Donald. He's not J.J. Watt in his prime. Would I be mad if they didn't pay him? Would I be mad if they got rid of him and kept Jarrell Casey? Yes. I think he has more upside. I think he's a better player. I think he deserves to be taken care of. I think he's done enough the last couple years where, just like Garrett Bowles did, and that's really, it's so funny how they don't pay their own players. I'm trying to go on top of my head. Brandon McManus and Garrett Bowles, just like they did. They put the work in. Why shouldn't Shelby get the same reward for his effort?
Yeah, I agree with you there. And we got Just C13 coming in with $1.99 donations. Great to see you come on in and sit with Christmas Eve with us. He's saying, hope we do better next year. Merry Christmas, guys, and Merry Christmas to you and everyone. And of course, I love that feeling. It's always, even when this season ends, guess what? We're going right into the offseason. We'll watch the playoffs. We'll have some fun. We go right into the offseason, and then we're hoping for the next season. And there is a lot of hope going into next season with players coming back, big-time players, Sutton coming back. We got Von Miller's going to be coming back. Good reasons to be happy for a new year and to see what's going to happen.
And the calendar changing from 2020 to 2021. 8 more days. I literally cannot wait for the new year to be here. But yeah, it's always exciting. And for Chad and I, for publishers, for those in the media, the offseason is so much better for news and rumors and for content and for discussion and interaction than it is during the regular season. We're going to have a lot of MHH we want to debut, a lot of exclusive content and new things coming. But also, this is a big offseason for Denver, John. I mean, they can have a new quarterback. I don't think a new coaching staff, but you're getting Von Miller back, like you said, getting Courtland Sutton back. They should be what we thought they would be this year. Fully healthy next year, no pandemic, no injuries, no getting screwed over. It's exciting going forward. They have the pieces in place, and I think 21 Can't be worse than this year, but 21 will be a better year, I think, for the Broncos.
I agree, and it's going to be great. And we got Muhammad coming in here. He's always giving us our great little nicknames. I am, of course, the Beast, and you are the Dragon, which equals greatness. So I appreciate that, Muhammad. You know, I always look forward to speaking to you on Twitter. So always reach out to us on Twitter, guys. But always appreciate talking to Muhammad in the chat or whenever I get the opportunity. Just a great guy. And, of course, as you can see by his picture, the MHH male model.
Thank you, Muhammad. And no matter what you celebrate this week, this year, please have a very happy holiday season and a very Merry New Year. And thank you for your interaction. You've been great.
Real quick question here. From DNV3. I kind of want to see Royce get more carries, though. Is that anything that you would accept? I mean, I'm fine with him in pass protection when you need him sometimes. A few catches. Do you want to see him running the ball more, though? We saw what happened when Booker got the ball more with the Raiders.
He's a Jag. I mean, we've seen Royce Freeman. We've seen what he can be and what he is. I mean, I don't hate the guy. I just think he's just there. He's just a running back. He doesn't do anything really overly well. He's not very explosive. Maybe, getting the opportunity and being passed over, it'll incite his performance, but I'm not really excited per se to see, Royce Freeman run the ball.
Yeah, I feel with the difference between Booker was I saw something in those early years before Vance Joseph even came in, if I believe. His rookie year was solid, and I saw a little bit of glimpse, and I did like what I saw in special teams. Freeman, I just sometimes like what I see in pass block. That's just over Lindsey a little bit, and I just don't see him have that burst. It could be just wear from being at Oregon and just being worn out.
Yes.
I mean, he has a lot of miles on those treads, even though Lindsey has a lot of miles. Different miles. It was a difference between a burst guy and someone taking a huge hit every play.
It's different. It's different miles. It's traversing, a smooth road for 1,000 miles or traversing, a mountainous road for 1,000 miles. Great point, John. At Oregon, wasn't he the all-time leading rusher there in yards or carries at Oregon? One of the two.
He was very close, yes, I believe.
And that was the knock, and that was the worry on him coming out, that how much is left on the tires, how much tread is there, how much does he have to offer? And his first season, he was explosive, but after that high ankle injury, I know that was a couple years ago now, he was just never the same running back. And he is what he is at this point. He's a plotter, he's an early down guy, and a Jag, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, let's get to Steven here. Let's get actually right here to Alex Scott. I think we are keeping Lindsey, especially with Gordon's DUI stuff going on in January.
Oh, they're keeping Lindsey. It's just a matter of giving him the RFA or giving him an extension. They're keeping him.
Yeah, and I think, in terms of Gordon, we'll have to see how the Broncos want to operate there. I don't think we're going to see anything until that end conference meeting, if anything.
Right. Yeah, gun to my head now, I do think Melvin Gordon stays next season. He's under contract. The Broncos know what they have in him, and he's been pretty good this year. I wouldn't say, a top 3 running back in the NFL, but he's been an asset for this offense. And, court case notwithstanding, suspension notwithstanding, I do think Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay return next season.
We got Stephen Baumgartner coming in here with a Merry Christmas, guys. Did I get this one earlier? If not, we're doing it twice. I hope Drew has a great game on Sunday. Do you guys see Denver being LA on Sunday? Still weird saying LA to me personally. I don't know why, but yes, I do. It has to happen. If not, that's just a Festivus horrid kind of thing, whatever you want to call it. The opposite of a miracle will not stand. For us Festivus celebrators as well. So I think the Broncos, I'm not one of the people who's picks on the staff poll, so I can go out and say this. I see it being a win. I see Chris Harris Jr. not being a factor really too much either. He's going to want to be, he's going to try, and he's going to make mistakes on some double moves.
Just like we know him to be.
Yeah. Have you seen that happen this year, by the way? Players raising their hands, doing any of that this year? Have you seen that compared to the other year in 20? No, I just had to throw that out there.
Thank you, John. You're my secondhand guy for that, for the Chris Harris Jr. bashing. You know what, though? On Thursdays, I usually save my prediction for the roundtable article that comes out tomorrow, but it is Christmas. I'll give you guys a present. I have predicted a Broncos win for this game. I know I'm not, the Messiah. I know I'm not, the all-knowing, especially this year, but I do think the Broncos will win at least one of their final 2 games. And they're both, divisional games. They've proven they can beat the Chargers. They haven't swept them since 2015. I think this is the year. The only caveat is it's going to be a kind of a sloppy game, I feel like, from Justin Herbert and Drew Lock. I think the defenses will take over, and the Broncos win something like 19-17. Regardless, though, a win's a win is a win.
Mm-hmm.
Get those brooms out, guys. First sweep in 5 years.
Oh, that'll feel good. And, even though it's so far separated from when Chris Harris Jr. was a Bronco, it's been a full year, basically. It still will be nice to say, hey, we beat you when you were actually out there. And and again, it's always great to beat a team that's just kind of lonely like they are and keep them there to make us feel a little bit better.
Yeah, enjoy your money, Chris. Have fun playing on a losing franchise.
Exactly. Got Mark Anthony in here. Merry Christmas Eve, y'all. Hoping Broncos country gift this year is a successful 2021. Yes. And I think that's the most reasonable gift that we can all ask for. It's going to be fun when it's coming to things like pay Shelby, whatever. This is going to be a fun off season. So definitely looking forward to 2021. What are some things you're looking forward in 2021?
Well, I was going to say, just beyond football, John, I hope everyone out there has a more stable, happier, less stressful 2021. I really hope that the pandemic gets under control and jobs come back and everything can kind of go to the pre-CV days, at least a little more normalcy next year. So I hope the Broncos have success for sure. But each and every individual listening to us right now, and you as well, John, and Chad out there, I hope for all of our sake, the world's sake, 21 is a better year.
Yeah, and I think everyone agrees that, 2021, let's just hope that additional level 1 changes everything. So let's see what else we got going on here. We got Terry Randall, who started the hashtag State of Being. So he is a foundation. To me, he's up there with the rest of the guys. He's Mile High Rushmore to me. Beauty of the Beast, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Terry.
You got your own hashtag now, John.
Of course. And it fits with the bacon. It really does fit me.
Beauty of the Beast.
We got Christopher Dio 44 coming in here. Great to see John in action. Who do we replace Kareem with in free agent or draft? Anyone come to mind? I have mine in mind. Do you have yours?
I'll tell you what I do right now. First of all, I re-sign Will Parks to a 2-3. Not to make him a starter though. Just to have him on the team, to have him in the fold. At worst, he can be a depth piece, or I guess a starter. At best, he can be a depth piece. I would draft the guy. I'm all about youth, John. I'm all about going the draft route and building from within and not paying the overpriced guys. So you're going to swap out Kareem Jackson and overpriced free agent for another overpriced free agent? No, I am going through the draft. I don't know who specifically that is or what round I would take him in, but I'm re-signing Will Parks to a fair deal for both sides, and I'm drafting that guy probably in the middle rounds and having them compete.
Yeah, I was thinking very similar along those lines and thinking, let's get Will Parks in here. He's kind of that person to be there if something goes wrong, if player you draft isn't quite ready, doesn't have it quite everything mentally going for them yet. That's definitely an option for the Broncos. I think Parks is someone that the fans love. I think the locker room loves too. And especially if you can offer him that competition for that starting position, he's going to want to come back, I feel, very, very much so as well. So I think that would be a great mix. And it's just, again, about seeing who's available. I haven't really looked too much on the safety position, who's going to be available in free agency, to be honest with you there.
Let's just keep Parks at number 27, though. I love the Atwater vibes I get from watching him play. It's really great.
Yeah, it's great, especially when he laid down that hit last week.
Oh, yeah.
It just felt right. Felt right. So it was great to see. And now we have Dave from Georgia coming in. Thanks for your time tonight, guys. You're the best. Hashtag Broncos Country. And,
thank you, Dave.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Dave. It's been great connecting with you on Facebook on Twitter. I'm sure you've connected on Facebook with the other guys as well, though, too. So it's great to see. And let's see what else we got going here. Did we miss one for you, Steven? I hope we didn't miss you there. If so, let us know, and I'll get to it.
I think we got him.
Okay, perfect. I'm just trying to. It's a little hard doing both ends here.
Welcome to the manger, John.
Well, welcome to the major leagues where I got to do both at the same time, huh? So here's another one from Dave from Georgia. What are your thoughts on should we have drafted Atwater's nephew, Jeremy Chin?
Oh.
I mean, that's something I know it's revisionist history. We're going back so far. how much different do you think this team would be if we had Jeremy Chin and as a replacement for Kareem Jackson, forever it may be?
Well, the team would have the same record. I don't think he would get them additional wins, but man, it's revisionist history, not because he's Atwater's nephew, because how good he's been doing this season in Carolina. The guy is really phenomenal, and he's a pure playmaker. Some of us wanted him in the draft, not that high up, and maybe in the third round, maybe late second, but the guy is just a beast safety, and he's going to be one for a very long time. And if you would have drafted him, we wouldn't have had that conversation about who to replace Kareem Jackson with, because you have Jackson's replacement in Jeremy Chin.
Yeah,
so that's my answer on that.
Perfect. And let's see what we else got here. Something's bothering Jay Roper, and that one thing that's bugging him is Drew Lock's ceiling. Can it be as high as Mahomes, Herbert's, and Allen's? Do you believe it can be?
So we're lumping Herbert in with Mahomes and Josh Allen. He's based on 4 victories and based on what he's done this season. I don't think he deserves to be in the same sentence as Patrick Mahomes, and for that matter, Josh Allen doesn't deserve to be either. It's Mahomes and literally everybody else. But listen, guys, this is what I've been saying on this podcast for weeks now. Locke was never going to be the next Mahomes or the next Stafford. He was always going to be the first true Locke. So let him develop on his own path. A year and a half ago, we were getting the same questions about Josh Allen. And is he a bust? Does he have it? What can his ceiling be? Did Buffalo make a mistake? And now that we know, they definitely didn't. Don't compare Locke to Mahomes. Don't compare any quarterback to Mahomes. Mahomes is a special, unique specimen. Every other quarterback is different than him, and Locke is in a unique situation, and he will develop on his own path.
Exactly. I think, and again, not everyone even knew Mahomes was going to be this splash of a player. He was passed up. Wasn't he pick 18, if I'm correct? Maybe it was 10. I could be flipping him with another quarterback. No matter what, teams passed on him, and they decided to go with someone else, and that's fine. No one was 100% sold on Mahomes. There was a reason he wasn't put in as a rookie, that his first game was in week 17 when the season was all finished up. It took time for him to develop. He had Alex Smith to learn under. Who has Locke had to learn under? Honestly, we're talking Flacco. Are we going back to speaking about, he had a great mentor in Flacco in learning how to act professional and really carry yourself in a way the locker room will look at you and say, that's a leader.
And what coaches did he have? I mean, Mahomes has Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. Who does Drew Lock had in 2 seasons? Scangarello in his first year, and he was good looking back on it, but he was still a rookie coordinator going through the process himself. And now Pat Shurmur this year. So that's what John's saying. That's what Chad's been saying. That's what I've been saying. If you put Locke in a different situation, if you give him the same luxuries other quarterbacks had, he would be closer to that ceiling, that the narrative and the package you're trying to put him in. But because he hasn't had that, it hasn't worked out that way. You get him better help, and you'll get a better quarterback.
Yeah, and let's see. Let's try to get another one in here. Just a simple answer. Do you guys still pod every day in the off season? Yes, we do. It's going to be 7 days a week, just different kind of content. It's going to be focusing on the draft at certain times and free agency. It's going to be focused on different things. We'll even have a pre-draft show that we're going to do where you'll speak with the experts and hear what they have to say and become more close with those players, and you make your own opinions start to form as well, which is great.
And also we'll have for the draft our special roundtable where we have everybody on for like 5-6 hours. It's a lot of fun. We enjoyed it last year.
It was definitely fun. It was very interesting to see the different people mesh for the first time, and it was fun. Yeah. I definitely was very interested in that.
John, let's get to what Pat Shurmur, the crux of our podcast here tonight, what the fans want to see in our pod tonight. It's interesting because it's Thursday, John. We had coaches availability at the media today. All the coordinators went up. Vic Fangio went up. Pat Shurmur, he was asked directly, what areas does he want to see Locke grow as a quarterback? So, in essence, what goals does he want Locke to achieve as a quarterback? This is what he said. I'll read it verbatim. Well, in every area. Great answer, Pat. I think he's displayed the ability to do a lot of really good things. And as you develop as a quarterback, we start talking about consistency. There's that C word again. The third person to mention that this week. Doing it over and over and over again and having full understanding of the situation and where the ball is supposed to go and making sure we're in the right run, making sure we manage the line of scrimmage well. I think he's done a good job of some of that. We really haven't been fighting the clock all that much. We haven't had a lot of pre-snap penalties. We're calling plays that I recognize. I would hope so. Sometimes a quarterback will call a play and will come out of a huddle, and I'm like, holy smokes, what is that? Wow. So he's doing that stuff better, and that's the efficiency piece that maybe a lot of people don't see. As the season's gone along, there's less and less of, okay, what the heck was that? From our standpoint watching it, which is good. And everything with regard to improvement is just consistency, doing it over and over and over. That's where it's very important, but you got to do it over and over and over. You got to be consistent, and you got to play winning football. It all goes hand in hand.
Okay, that sounds like that's a high school coach just trying to tell you guys, hey, just remember consistency. You want to move forward. It just seems so amateurish. I'm sorry. It seems below a offensive coordinator of the NFL. Yes, consistency is important. Very obvious. Thank you so much. You need to have that set up prior to. He was saying, oh, you'd like to have that set up in the preseason, but here we are in week 16 still, and still don't have anything going. So to me, it was just him basically, Shurmur saying, that's what we should have done. We didn't do it. I just thought that was basically him admitting, to himself, admitting we didn't do it.
I mean, he also didn't take any responsibility as he never really does. And it's funny you say it's like a high school coach, where this is a 58-year-old coach who's been a head coach twice in the NFL and a longtime coordinator. And he's up on the podium saying, we're calling plays that I recognize. What? You're the one calling the plays. Locke doesn't really have the full autonomy to audible at the line of scrimmage. And you just said, oh, we're not fighting the clock, which they are sometimes. It's negative game script. We're not fighting pre-snap penalties. So what's he saying? Locke has a perfect situation. It's all on him when things don't go the right way.
I'm at a loss for words. He's saying we're adding by subtracting at times. I just don't get what he's trying to even get at. I mean, it's just him saying some terminology that some people listen to. It's like, oh, here's some buzzwords. Here's some buzzwords for you. I'm out. It just had no meaning to me, honestly. It was just him trying to get in and out of there. I don't know what his real point was trying to get across, except consistency equals great football, which makes sense. But he was saying, we haven't been consistent at all this entire year. And even when I try to put in new plays, it doesn't work because, well, we haven't had time to be consistent at it. So again, he wants consistency, but you don't have the time to learn and develop into consistent. I don't get how that's going to work out to success at all. I don't know.
He also says sometimes a quarterback will call a play and will come out of the huddle, and I'm like, holy smokes, what is that? So that's implying it's happened more than once.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. If that's ever happened, that should never happen again. You stamp that out of the quarterback after the first time. If multiple times are happening this season and it's December 24th, we're entering week 16, and Pat Shurmur's admitting that they're getting out of the huddle and he's being baffled by the play calls, you are the offensive coordinator and you are the quarterback whisperer. Ultimately, it's an indictment on himself, John. He's telling on himself as he has, but without taking accountability nor responsibility. And who does that sound like? Like his boss, Mr. Fangio.
Yeah, this is just something that it's making things more difficult for Locke, even though they keep saying we're making the offense more simple. We're cutting it in half. We're doing quarters, whatever it may be. Doesn't matter if you change it from week to week. It's going to cause problems every week. And that's what I see happening at this point is week to week, they can make changes. It's not going to make a difference when you don't have that consistency from the coaching staff. So they're saying, we want consistency from Locke. I don't care about my consistency.
Right.
My consistency is hey, I can change whenever I want. I can add, I can subtract. I'm allowed to change my play calling. You have to be consistent on whatever I call, though. Whatever I call, you have to be consistent. I don't have to.
Do as I say, not as I do. And that's exactly the mantra that Pat Shurmur is living by. And you know what, John? I almost said Chad again. I'm sorry. It's just
I only touched my glasses so far once, like Chad. I've been watching that. I've only touched it once, like Chad. Correct me if I'm wrong in the stream. I'm sure someone's counting.
Shots fired.
But I do want to thank Robert. That usually means he's given some stars or something along that line. So thank you so much, Robert. Really do appreciate that. We also got a super chat coming in here from Christian De Jesus. Not a lot of teams ahead of us in the draft. Don't need a corner. So now that should put us in position to draft Caleb Farley. That makes sense. I mean, without a lot of teams needing it in front of you, yeah, I mean, that you hope that he falls to you. It'd be a great value at 13, I believe the Broncos are picking at right now. It's a great value. It's a position of need. It's something that the Broncos would love, and I assume they would run up that card and not really consider trading back or think along those lines even.
You're talking about a top 10 prospect. If he falls to 13 and the Broncos have a hole at cornerback, yeah, I'm probably writing his name on the card and giving it to Goodell. The thing is, though, Christian, you're kind of ignoring that teams can trade up ahead of the Broncos for a cornerback or for Farley if they want him. If he starts falling that far, again, this is Elway's MO, John. He's not going to make those big first-round splash trades, those big blockbuster trades. He likes staying put and seeing what's on the board or what could be on the board when they go on the clock. Either they stay put and get their guy, or they may move back, like in 2019 for Noah Fant, and get a couple more picks in the process.
I agree. I think you're not going to see the Broncos trading up for a quarterback or any position in that for that being the matter. I do think if Farley's there, you jump on him, you pounce, and you're happy with that first round pick. You end your night looking towards the second round and day 2.
God, if it's Farley versus Micah Parsons, though, I don't know. I'm thinking long and hard about that one. You can make the case for either.
Yeah, that really is a hard one. That's where I would let coaches battle and see, the defensive back coach versus the linebackers coach. I want to see them fight, and whoever has the most fight in them, that's who gets the player.
Reggie Herring versus Ed Donatel. I'm going Reggie Herring all day, every day. He'll win that battle. But let us know, guys. Let us know in the comments, who would you take in that situation? Would you take Micah Parsons or Caleb Farley, given the choice at number 13? Let us know. Yeah,
let us know. That would be definitely a great way for us to understand. Let me exit off of this one. Locke's not understanding the plays. Locke not understanding the plays is a coaching problem. And I do agree with that too. Obviously, the coaches aren't telling Locke how to progress in the proper way, because last year he was using virtual machines to basically help him and get him prepared, and now he can do it. Now he can't do it with a person and live ball. So there's something going on there with the exact coaching, this staff, how they're speaking to him. Again, I'll be honest with you, I have learning disabilities, so when I understand where Bowles is coming from when he says, hey, it took me a while, I needed to find the right coach. Same thing. You need to find the right teacher that speaks to you, that understands how you learn, how you can progress. Because again, you can teach. Oh, great! This is a way you can teach Peyton Manning. It's not going to work on Drew Lock. So you got to make sure you're teaching the individual player, not the position, and not the ideal player of what you're liking. It has to be the individual.
That is such a great point, and that is such a great analogy, and it's something that I said yesterday when the whole argument is, do you want to replace Pat Shurmur and fire him again and make Locke learn another system? And my answer was yes, because if it's the right guy and the right system, then it doesn't matter. It would be to his benefit. You are 100,000% correct. It's the right guy for Locke, and it looked like that guy last year was Scangarello, and they got rid of him. It's still baffling to me.
Yeah, and we have a few people in here telling us who they want. It feels like Parsons is leaving at this point, but we have people that don't even know Parsons, which is why we need that draft special where you can kind of learn these players, because otherwise, I agree. You're just telling me another guy that sounds like Simmons from last year from the Cardinals selection. So we definitely have people more interested in Parsons, I would say, though.
I would say Parsons compared to Simmons is a more traditional off-ball linebacker. He's built a little bigger. He doesn't have so much versatility like an Isaiah Simmons, but he makes up for that in his run support and pass coverage. He can blitz. He's a good leader. He comes from a good program in Penn State. You guys haven't heard of him or haven't seen him, go on YouTube after the pod is over and search Micah Parsons highlights, and I promise you'll be blown away.
Yeah, and again, people still, they say Farley's a good guy, but it seems like people have had enough. They want Parsons. They're ready for someone to take over at inside linebacker. I know some different people are saying, well, he can fit in an edge technically for Fangio's system. I really think we want him. If I were to choose, I would play him at inside linebacker. Yeah. But we got some more Farleys coming in at the end, actually. So it's close. People want a little bit of both.
But you can move him around, John. I mean, you can play him at inside, you can play him at outside. And when something happens to Bradley Chubb next year, if Vaughn doesn't come back strong, or if, let's say in a unlikely scenario Vaughn leaves, then you have a starter at inside linebacker and a starter outside linebacker. And he's not Justin Hollins. You don't have to worry about overloading him. He can do both, but a dynamic 3-down linebacker would be so clutch in a Fangio defense, and I would love to see it, John.
To me, he'd be Joshua Watson, but he could actually really play that each position at its max. Yeah. I mean, Joshua Watson, he can play them as serviceable backup, really in-depth need pieces, but he can do everything. So going back a little bit for Kenneth Booker here, what's the max you will pay to keep Park here? And for me, when it comes to value, I'm going to go towards you and lean towards your thoughts.
I'd have to see like safety contracts right now. I believe Eddie Jackson is the highest paid safety, or is that Budda Baker now? I think he's the highest paid guy. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's not going to reset the market, but I'm paying Will Parks a fair salary on let's say a 3 or 2 year deal. I'm not 5-6 years. I'm not giving him tons of guarantees. I would say the max would be for either a worst case starter or best case backup. I'd say about 5-6 mil a year. I think that's pretty fair. 3 years, 18 mil, 10 million guaranteed. I think it's pretty fair for Parks.
That sounds very fair. Give him incentives if he's able to hit certain numbers, a certain, I start this many plays, I play this certain many snaps. Those are great ways to get him different ways of, reaching those financial goals. And that also means good things for the Broncos, probably, if he's reaching certain incentives. So really, again, I do want to keep Parks here. I think he's a good piece here. I think the fans love him, and I think that's what's important too. Going into next year, you need to have fans going in with that trust. I believe that 100%. So getting players that the fans like is important to me. I'm not sure if it is.
Also, all the Broncos players like him as well, and the Broncos coaches like him as well. There's a reason why they brought him back, and it seems like they made it less of a big deal than they did for Devontae Bosby. So maybe Fangio is just a bigger Parks fan. And maybe, I'm going to bring some of the comments, maybe 6 mil a year is too much. But my point in saying that is you got to give him something that, like you said, it makes him want to stick around. He already left for Philadelphia. He wanted to be a starter. He wanted to be making money. I don't know if that's going to do it, John. I mean, that's what, $3.5 million a year. That's a little on the low end, but maybe 4 million, 5 million. Yeah. Like you said, incentive based, escalators, interception incentives, start incentives, and I think he would be open to that.
I agree, and I think that's how you get certain players. Is I understand where they're coming from. It's hard to not want to be the guy at this point. If in college you were definitely the guy, so you've been used to it most of your life throughout high school. Everyone told you the guy, and now you're told you're a backup. It's hard to swallow. So definitely want to make sure that he gets happy. And also, Merry Christmas to our colleague James Campbell. Just want to wish him a Merry Christmas. So thank you, James.
Is there Christmas in the UK?
I think it's what time is it there? Right. I mean, it's got to be. Is it 12 there, James? Are you in the Christmas time? We'll see.
Probably.
He's like, maybe. All right, we got Kenneth Booker coming in here again. I'll let you answer this. I'll read it though. Yeah. Do you see Shurmur leaving voluntarily himself because of the lack of success?
He won't even get up there and take responsibility. He's going to walk away, which would be the ultimate admission of failure on his part. No, as long as he's also under contract, they make a lot of money, John. Coordinators at the NFL level, he's probably making like 2-3 mil with the Broncos to be a bad coordinator and a bad play caller. So no, he's not going to walk away. The only way Shurmur is not the OC next year is if Elway and Fangio get rid of him.
Merry Christmas. It's 2 a.m., so Santa is working his way for James right now. If he's been a good boy, has he? We'll have to see.
I don't know. Ask Chad.
I guess we'll have to ask Chad. So let's see what else we got here for questions right now. We got a lot going on for Will Parks. People saying $4 million. So it's around that money we were talking about. Let's see if we got any other great questions coming in. So what are your thoughts about, I think he's meaning Patrick Surtain. Do you have any thoughts of Patrick Surtain going in at this point?
I thought he meant Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton. I wasn't sure about the question. I'm assuming it's the way you meant it though. Surtain is a blue chipper in this draft class, but I think there's a fairly substantial drop off between Farley and Surtain. So if the Broncos want to trade back, like they did with Fant in 2019, maybe move to 18, 19, 20. It's so tough right now, December 24th, to gauge where the board is going to break and where these prospects, before the combine, before the pre-draft process plays out. He is quarterback 2, as far as I'm concerned, in this draft class. But given the option, I'm taking Farley.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a hard year for players to jump other players. We don't know what the combine is going to be like, and is that going to be enough for someone to say, hey, you didn't have tape last year, he has some tape. It's going to be an odd draft class going this year. It's going to be odd for free agents too that also missed a year. So odd things are coming down the pipeline, obviously, and but we got CC saying Surtain's the safer option. Sometimes, safer options are better, but sometimes in those first rounds, I want that big time hit player. Right. I'm not looking for that mediocre player who can play for 4 seasons. Don't give him the 5th-year option and good luck wherever you go next kind of thing. I'm looking to hit someone in the first round and make something big.
Give me the high ceiling guy over the high floor guy any day,
And here's one more from CC, just talking about getting Duke Dawson off the field in comparison to having Will Parks. I do agree. Will Parks is a huge upgrade over Dawson. That's just an obvious one, although the Broncos seem to like Dawson and his versatility.
I would drive Dawson to the airport if it meant he wouldn't be with the Broncos. This is another situation where they're playing guys like Duke Dawson, Devontae Harris over guys like Michael Ojemudia and Devontae Bosby. You wonder a little bit about the thinking about the cornerbacks with Vic Fangio, but you got to give him the benefit of the doubt because Ojemudia this year, to his credit, has looked really good for the most part.
Yeah, except for him, trying to get in a fight with someone while they have their helmet on, which I never understand, but, It is what it is. One thing that I did want to bring back to in terms of Shurmur is that he said his comments were really strange to me in that he was saying the Broncos would have scored 25 points. He was saying like a few times I've noticed, he said, we should have scored blank. We should have scored this amount. It's the kicker's fault. It was Russolino's fault. I don't like that coming from my offensive coordinator to blame the special teams no matter what. I mean, just say, we left some plays on the board. You don't have to be specific and say, oh, by the way, it was the special teams guy. I don't want any of the trouble. He cost us multiple points, not me. So I didn't like that from Shurmur either when he was giving his remarks today.
When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Shurmur consistently this season has shown us who he is as the Broncos OC and as the guy in charge of Locke's development. And who he is just, in my opinion, and my humble opinion, not very good and not very conducive to Drew Locke's success. So at this point, after all these pressers, after all these weeks, I'm not even surprised, John, that Shurmur gets up there and doesn't take responsibility, no accountability. He throws everyone under the bus but himself. Sometimes he's driving the bus over his quarterback. You don't want to see that. You want camaraderie and you want someone who's going to fall on the sword, being the coach, being the mentor, not blaming the understudy.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, I get it. It's an easy person to go against. Oh, it was Rosolino. Is that right? Correct?
Russolino, yeah.
Russolino, from the kicker. I mean, yeah, great. Let's kick someone who cannot make a comment back to you, who's not, a part of the Broncos, if I'm correct right now. And so let's push him down while it's real easy. And by the way, so it wasn't me. So as we got him right here.
Jack. I like it.
He's a Jack, just another coach. And at this point, yeah, he is. That's what he's become. And I think that sums it up pretty well.
Christos, I am stealing that from you. I'm just letting you know in advance. So
yeah,
we might want to trademark that fast.
Yeah, put the trademark in because that is going to be all over my Twitter.
It's funny.
Okay. Any other questions you see here that are getting your attention and you want to grab real quick?
Like we said, guys, this was a very impromptu podcast tonight. Obviously, it's Christmas Eve and Chad's not here. We wanted to go on and for as long as you guys are going to be around with us. We'll take a few more, but it's not going to be the usual hour and 15. So anything you guys want to know, last call right now, fire those questions in. If you have a question, make sure to send it in next couple minutes.
So we got Jay Roper coming in here. He says he does have a question. If Locke is middle of the road quarterback next season, how do you draft a top-tier quarterback in the draft in 2022? Because we will be around 15 to 21, or will Locke have done enough for 2023?
This is such a loaded. I mean, how are we supposed to know? I mean, we're still gauging.
So
this
let's just assume he does an okay year. Broncos 8-8. We're just assuming.
But what's an okay
everything.
year? Like what's middle of the road stats though for him? What's an okay stat line? It's so subjective.
Yeah, I mean,
3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 picks.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Just in my head, if it was a middle of the road year, just to give him an answer, honestly, I don't know, because again, is it a middle of the road year because of offensive line issues? What's going on? But if it's not good, I don't see us going and signing him and franchise tagging him or doing anything along those lines to keep him in for 2023.
And by then, John, who is the GM? Who is the head coach? Who is? There's so many questions and so many variables. I will say this, and this is the most assured answer we can give you at this stage right now. If Locke gets the nod next year, which he might for sure, and if he has an average year, however you define that, then yeah, I think the Broncos would go big game hunting for a quarterback, probably with an offensive-minded head coach, probably with a younger offensive-minded head coach, and they would want not a veteran, not a Matt Stafford type or a Matt Ryan. They would want a rookie or a young quarterback. So 8-8, let's say they go 8-8 next year. They don't make the playoffs and Locke is average. Then yes, whoever the GM is in 2022 going into the next year, I think they will finally get a blue chip quarterback.
Okay, we got another super chat coming in from Kenneth Booker at the kind of end of the show here. Best present you ever got over the years? Are we assuming that this is just, holiday presents? Because otherwise I got better presents in other times. And Charlie Beagle, of course, had new socks. They were great.
Yeah, I don't know. Top of my head right now, I don't know. I'm thinking like birthdays, Christmas, random times. I don't know. I get myself a lot of things, John. I don't know. Whatever I want, I usually buy myself.
Right. That's how I do it.
So,
I say, if you're going to give me a present, I'll take the cash and do it myself.
Give me a gift card.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. But honestly, it's going to sound kind of, it's not really a present. But when I heard my dad was done with cancer, that was the best present I ever got. That's kind of one of those things where it was, I remember crying, and it was one of the best presents ever, and I can only hope for that to happen again with someone else.
God bless him, John. And what I'm going to say right now, I can't follow that up, but along those same lines, my father passed about 4 years ago, and one of my best memories ever is it was 2006, and we were living in South Florida at that time, and going to a Jets game. Some of you guys know my Jets fan and my Jets history. That was the first game we ever went to. He surprised me with tickets, and they won on the last second field goal. So you and I along the same lines. Families, it's very important.
It was much. It made it so much different. Yeah, even when I've gone to games, going when it was a surprise gift from a family member makes a huge difference versus me saying, "Hey, buddies, we can scrounge some tickets up and go. They got 3 there. Let's go." Those makes a huge difference, and then you kind of do it in a different way. You go and see the tunnel and see all the Broncos come in. I remember that was a great time I did with my mom one time as a gift. She got it for me, and I was able to just say hello to a few players like DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. Even shook my hand.
That's cool.
Bradley Roby is actually one of my mom's favorite players because I told her he went to Ohio State and she's from Ohio. So basically she said, congratulations, Ohio State. And he thought she was talking about the national championship, them getting in. So he comes over to her and is like shaking her hand. Thank you so much. We did it. We're going to make it to the national championship. My mom's confused the whole entire time, but I'm there just enjoying it, watching her with Bradley Roby and just enjoying that time.
You'll never forget that. That'll be a memory that you take the rest of your life, and that's what's important.
Yes, and that's one of those huge things. Broncos fans may have said, Roby was great for 5 years. We enjoyed our time. He helped us with the Super Bowl. He's gone out of mind. But when you have other fans, we have moments with players like that, and it means the world. I mean, going before one time I went before football camp, I met Ebenezer Ekubon and Jarvis Moss at breakfast. They're like, "Want us to sign your pants?" I'm like, "Yeah, sign my pads, thanks." So,
pants.
No, that'd be a little weird.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just weird things like that where I've had some great times with Broncos players, and they make true life experiences possible, So my memories are around the Broncos.
That's awesome. And Kenneth, what's your best present ever? Let us know.
Yeah, hit us up, Kenneth. While you're doing that, I'll do some matter of businesses goodbye. But while you're doing that, guys, put in your favorite gifts you've ever gotten. Let us know. But as we're doing that, like, of course, this is the Huddle Up podcast. We really appreciate you showing up. I know it's Christmas Eve. You could be doing a lot of different things. So again, really appreciate the support. Follow us on Twitter at Huddle Up Pod, and follow the head account at Mile High Huddle for Twitter as well. Always go to sportsbetting.com/Mile High Huddle for your sports betting needs, either if that's basketball for the last 2 weeks or football for the last 2 weeks of the season, or basketball going forward. A lot of things you can bet on. It's not limited. Also get your gear and your merchandise at huddleuppod.com. Get your swag on, get your Let 'em Hate t-shirt. We're going to have them hating next year too. This isn't going away. And of course, as always, we appreciate our Facebook followers at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. You can become a supporter. Just click a button underneath and join with us. We're getting some new content out there starting in January 2021. So I'm very excited about that. As well as the easiest way to help us is subscribe, like, and share. Wherever you do that, if you're doing it on Facebook, Twitter, doesn't matter. We appreciate you taking those steps and helping us grow organically. It really doesn't mean the difference to us. And it's been a great time speaking Broncos football with you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Zach, any last words? This is yours. The floor is yours.
It's funny that when you said about this shirt can apply next year, when I was designing this shirt, I was going to put like hashtag Broncos 2020 on there. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to typecast it for one season. This is going to be the mantra for the Broncos for the next generation, next decade. Let them hate on Denver, because throw away 2020, throw away the pandemic and all the injuries. Starting next season, guys, wait on it. Stick around.
Exactly. And can't wait to see more coming from you guys. And we'll see you. Take care, everybody.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
See you Sunday.